Alright, today we're having a look at the Librarian's Mansion by Goofmaster98. Alright, so here we are in the Librarian's Mansion by Goofmaster98, and already I'm liking the look. I've got a really nice material set going on here. Using the bookcases and actually doing the UV with them so that they look appropriate where they're cut out. I love that. This was not, I didn't expect this. Now this level's only been up for a day, and it's already had somebody glitch the scoreboard for 4 million points. So now I do kind of feel like those areas, if there's like nothing back there, I feel like they should have kind of been blocked off. Now this is nice that they labeled it as a checkpoint. I mean, it's a checkpoint clearly. So, oh my goodness, a ghost. Oh, it's a sack person. Thank God you're here. Did you cover the Halloween convention? Well, sorry to break it to you, it was a hoax. I hate that. Only way to get your fight back outside. Oh, look, okay. I should have read that more slowly, but we've only got so much time to spend here. My freaking clock battery is dead, and you know what? That's not important. We're just gonna focus on this. I like the look. The look is really good. There's not, I feel like, a lot going on yet. That's weird that that box is so light. Like, on one hand, from a just keeping things moving perspective, like, that, you know, we don't have to struggle with a heavy wooden box, but from a, like, just diegetic perspective, what's going on? There's like a lot of mixed metaphors going on in this level here, and I don't know what's going on with that, but sure. I do feel like with those ghosts, I kind of feel like the area that those ghosts are in maybe should just be one layer deep, so that the player's forced to interact with them. Now, you know, like, I deserve that. I totally, on one hand, deserve that, but I also kind of feel like that's, I don't know how I feel about that. Do these platforms need to be this wide? I just kind of feel like you should set the bounce pads so that you can just smoothly run through them, like you're not losing any momentum. I kind of feel like making the player switch layers and hop, and it feels like, well, why though? Oh god, oh god, oh, you're putting us back here? I mean, this is a bit of a, I mean, is it though? I don't know. I've got feelings. I've got feelings about this level, and we don't have like a lot of time, but like there's parts of it that I dig. Like, I've said presentation like 3 times, but like I do really like the presentation. I think it's really good, but I don't know. Like, the gameplay feels not great, and I don't like. Okay, let's get to a place where oh jeez, what the freaking? Okay, that's not. Oh. That's not, none of that was great. I don't know how I've got feelings about all of this. We're gonna have to discuss those feelings back at the hub, but yeah, we'll talk about it back there. See ya! And we're back, and the Librarian's Mansion by Goofmaster98, and I'd say it's a pretty solid on yellow square. There's definitely softer parts to it, things that I think probably ought to be addressed and polished up, but for the most part, we've got a fun, relatively straightforward, low-challenge platformer with a really nice environment and presentation going on, although sometimes the way that presentation interacts with the gameplay can be a little bit of a problem, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, the environment, and while it is really cool, and I do like it an awful lot, material choices are like spot on. I think there's a good balance and set of decorations and objects in it to give it a nice lived-in, crafted feel, and I think all that stuff is really, really cool. I'm not sure necessarily that it's a librarian's mansion, although to be fair, none of the librarians that I've ever known have had the money to live in mansions, so maybe it's just that I don't know. I did date one for a short time, it was 6 years, but she didn't have a mansion and neither did I. The point is there's a bit of a mix of idioms going on in the level where you do have these sections that they're kind of attic-y, but they're definitely like, they feel like they could be in a house somewhere. And then you've got like this extended bit where you're on like bounce pads and you're over electrified water, and it's like, it feels kind of like the inside of a pirate ship, which was like cool. It was really, really cool looking. It didn't necessarily match the environment, but like, that was okay. Some of the enemy choices as well, like the ghosts make sense. Ghosts are very, like, genre neutral types of enemies. I feel like they go in just about any environment because people die all over the place. You've got ghosts everywhere. So that wasn't, like, really an issue to see them. But then you've got those, like, the little dudes from the canyon. And I love those little dudes. I love all the enemies from LBP1, I think, are, like, super cute. They're super cool. But it's like, why are they here? Like, what is their relationship to the environment? And they don't maybe necessarily need to have one, but I do feel like a certain effort has gone into presenting this environment. So, like, why not mice or spiders or corpses or like mannequins? That's like it's a very minor point. It's just something that kind of stood out to me as kind of funny, but it's not anything I'd really take points away from the level about. Now, where we do start to get into places where it's actually a little bit softer, and it's how that environment does interact with the gameplay, particularly in the depth of platforms. We see a lot of areas where the platforms are really just like, they're overly deep in layer, and it interacts with some of the gameplay elements in ways that I think don't really benefit the level that much. You see it really clearly with the enemies that I just mentioned, where in most of the places where you run into enemies, and they're on like platforms that are 3 or 4 layers deep, so you could just kind of like run around the enemy. Like, you could stand right in front of the ghosts, they're not going to hurt you. You can go in circles around some of the enemies, one of which was stationary, which is kind of a weird choice, but that's okay. I managed to get killed on it 3 times because I was showing off. That's what happens when you recall B-rolls. But the point is, like, if you want a player to deal with a hazard, you kind of have to force them into that area, either by making it so that the hazardous section of it, like the spikes on the sides of the enemy, for example, are the only layer that's available for the player to traverse, so they have to jump on the enemy to progress or they will die. Or like have it so that you've got to like wait on the ghost cycles so that you could run underneath it or jump over it, again by kind of locking it into one layer. Or if you're gonna have like weaving, you could have 2 layers, but like to have 3, and you start to get to this situation where you're just like not gonna be doing anything with whatever hazard, the players aren't gonna be doing anything with whatever hazard you're trying to present to them. Now, we do see another layer issue when we come to that platforming section with the bounce pads. And this was really weird. So when I played through the first time for B-rolls, and I was running into the edges of the bounce pads, and they were pushing me out of layer, and so I was expecting to ride up on top of the bounce pad and just move on my merry way, and instead I like ran right off the edge of the platform. And I thought, that was kind of weird, but I know an easy fix to it, and I'll just do it in create mode, and like I'll just show how you can get around that. And then I went into create mode, and I couldn't replicate it. When every time I pushed up against the edge of the bounce pad, I would just ride up over it. It would take extra time to do it. It would stop the smooth movement, but like I wouldn't get bounced out of layer. I wouldn't get pushed out of layer. So I was like, oh great. So I did a recording, because I'd already done a recording, where I just gave a ton of really bad information to people. I'll have to redo this recording again. So I went and I played the level again so that I would have fresh, in my mind when I was doing this recording, and I'm getting pushed out of layer by the bounce pads again. And it's like, I don't know like what's going on and why, but either result, like being pushed out of layer by the bounce pad or kind of having to take time to ride up over the lip of the bounce pad, neither of those are things that you want if you want the players to be smoothly progressing through that section. So what you can do, it's fairly easy. All you gotta do is put a physics tweaker on the bounce pad and set it so that it only collides with sack thing, and then make it static so it's not going to fall through the actual platform, and place it into the platform so the actual pad itself is just a little bit over the top of the material, and the player will run right onto it and progress on their way. And you can kind of force that to happen as well by just having the layer with the bounce pad, just having it. Why did you come back? one layer deep, so that they're not going to be like running around the bounce pads or missing the bounce pads. So yeah, those kind of layer issues, they did come up in the level. It was a little bit weird. I think a lot of those areas, they could have just been like one layer deep or 2 layers deep, and it would have been better for the gameplay. Although maybe the presentation would have suffered just a little bit. Which does bring us to another point with that presentation. There are a number of areas in the level where you can kind of access layers in the background, where I don't really think that Goofmaster had intended players to access, because there's nothing to do there. There's like a shelving unit with a television on it, and you can get kind of in the back up where the television is, but then like, why would you? And the section, there's a sign that's indicating that you're going to be grabbing something to progress on. You're going to do grab climb, and you can get up behind that sign, and it's just kind of like, well, if you're going to leave those areas to be accessible to the players, which is certainly fine, it seems like it would be better to me to like kind of put something there, maybe a prize bubble, so it's an optional prize bubble that they actually have to work to get, or maybe some kind of secret, or just something kind of neat, like change a camera angle so they could see something a little bit more clearly, a little better as like a scenic view. And if you're not going to do anything with that section, then just blocking it off with a thin layer of material that's got an opacity tweaker set to 0 on it, so that you still get the depth of that open space, like with the shelving unit, but the player's not actually going to be able to like jump up and potentially get stuck in there. Now this does come into play in a little worse way later on in the level, where you've got a sign that's like indicating, there's a little arrow that's bobbing up and down. It's kind of indicating the direction that you're supposed to be going in, and there's a bit of like an edged lip on the pillar that's holding up that arrow, and you can jump onto that edge, that little diagonal edge, and then fall off it back in layer, so that you actually fall out of level, and then there's nothing really to do there but to pop yourself and get back up. So like closing that off again with a thin layer of material that's set to 0% opacity would probably be a really good idea. Now the last part of the level, and it's probably the only really challenging part of the level, I feel like, is that giant ghost that you encounter, and it's the only enemy in the level that does present any kind of danger, because it is on a winch, and the timing of the winch and the arc that the ghost is traveling is a little bit wonky. I ended up dying there quite a number of times, actually dying out of level a couple of times, and I did appreciate that this level is a limited life checkpoint level. Like, you can actually die out of levels, and I kind of like it when that is in a shorter level, so you do have some challenge, but you don't feel like if you did die out of the level it would be impossible for you to go back in and redo it. So usually longer levels I would rather have an infinite life checkpoint, so because I don't want to lose all the progress that I've done. I don't want to have to do it second time. But with a level like this, having limited life checkpoints I do think is fairly appropriate. But the ghost is kind of weird. I don't really think it needs to be changed, but it does present a bit of a difficulty spike compared to other things that we've seen in the level. It was a cool ghost though, and I really liked it. And I like those climbing bits where you've got like the U-shaped climbing, and you got point bubbles on them, so you can just get up over top the point bubbles, drop down, and get a nice score chain. That is super cool. I like numbers going up. You know who else likes numbers going up? People who like to glitch the game. So when I played it the first time, and there weren't that many people on the scoreboard, there's still not that many people on the scoreboard. There's only about 33 people who have actually played the level, but somebody has glitched in a 4 million point score, so you go, I guess. I hate that. I hate it so much, but folks are gonna folks, I guess. I think I've said just about everything I can about this level. It's cool. It's fun. I had a really good time with it. I do encourage you to give it a shot. See if you can get above my score. I'm in 3rd place now, but probably not above 4 million points, because then you'd have to glitch it, and you'd be a glitch person, and that wouldn't be cool. You don't want to do that. But yeah, I've got a stream tonight. My throat is getting really nasty. Goofmaster98, I had a great time with your level. I look forward to seeing more of your stuff in the future, but I gotta go. So from me, Disco, here in Tokyo, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao. Glitches.